Well, weirdos, we are back in action and ready to take on the continuation of the misadventures of Stanford Pines. We will be covering the final pages into Stanford's long history with Bill Cipher as we embark on our third part of the series and our final. Now, of course, there's still miles of material within the book that can and will be covered on this channel, but this should end our story between Bill and Ford's companionship at the time. A bit of a recap, because quite honestly, I've been out for a while. The last standoff Ford had between him and Bill was of when Ford decided to attempt to use a dead corpse's brain as a decoy for his theoretical anti-Bill suit. But all else fails once Bill Cipher decides to possess multiple zombies to surround Ford, ending in his defeat, with Ford exclaiming one of his best zingers. The beginning of today's overview kicks off with Ford awakening with a sticky note planted on his forehead, which later on becomes a constant running gag that Bill Cipher keeps egging Ford with over time.
Can we talk?
No.
Pretty please?
I'd rather die.
Oh, don't be so dramatic.
I'm an author, we're all dramatic.
Hey, wanna hear a joke?
No.
Knock knock.
Not now, I have a headache.
That's because I've been knocking your skull against the wall.
Stop wasting my post-it notes! It even gets to the point where Bill tries to petrify this man with a literal venomous snake, which they call to be a western Riddleback rattlesnake. And after doing a tiny Google search, I came to the realization that they actually don't exist, but diamondback snakes do. It's called a Riddleback simply because it's a made-up species that literally has a riddle symboled onto its body if you watch carefully. You can spot the symbols to decipher the letters Ouroboros, something that I'm gonna flat out admit may be incorrect. I've been decrypting the phrase with the keys Riddle, Bill, Ford, Wakey, Snakey, and Snake to no avail. And of course, I even use the good old-fashioned @bash and 3 letters back methods. If anyone knows whether I at least have the array of letters correct, let me know in the comments. Anyways, the pranks that Bill leaves out for Ford eventually gets to him, which soon becomes a war that Ford evidently loses to, despite his efforts in thwarting off Bill from entering his mind. He tried things like playing annoying songs on loop and of course sleep depriving himself in order to keep Bill from possessing his body once he's unconscious, leading to Ford becoming so exhausted to the point where he had no choice but to eventually pass out. Which reminds me of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake where the main character does literally the exact same thing, and I don't know if it was intentional, but it wouldn't be too surprising considering how there was an actual reference to Freddy Krueger within Journal 3. Bill, of course, takes advantage of this and decides to take it upon himself to possess Ford's body onto the very roof of the shack in the blistering cold. Ford then panics inside, thinking Bill had destroyed the journals by then, only to succumb to the realization that instead, Bill played an 8-track of Sweet Dreams, all while laying out a chessboard and a cup of tea with a fire lit with his fireplace. Ford then notices a tape right under his fridge, which, once played, the unspeakable was displayed. An entire video montage of him being under Bill Cipher's control, something so utterly disturbing that it makes your skin crawl when thinking of the idea of living out any of these moments. Bill Cipher had me at the image of him rolling on grazes of grass and forcing on an interesting tattoo to say the least, but nailing one of my hands onto a friggin' surface? Nah. Matter of fact, the entire second page is a crime against humanity. But then things go a step even further into the depths of pure evil. Bill attempts to make a call out to Stanley on a payphone, stating while in possession in Stanford's body that he never cared for him, and that he's basically going to end himself in a frozen lake. Thankfully, the message doesn't go through as the payphone is inactive, but boy does that make Ford boil with anger. And though it set him off into a frenzy, Bill stops him in his tracks and reminds him who was really in control. Now, an image of Bill Cipher is shown in this page, and the symbols are for the letters N and O, possibly referring to when Bill Cipher replies to Ford, proving that he is the one that has no power over the situation. And Bill continues on by showing Ford that if he doesn't activate the portal, he has the ability to control every part of his body, and goes as far as erasing his very own memory of himself while within the mindscape with Bill just to prove a point. Another thing to mention is the threat of Bill insinuating the following.
You're my property. Don't forget it. The hillbilly abandoned you. Your father won't want you returning without millions. You have no friends. And if you died out here in the snow, who would even miss you? Turn on the portal. I've waited too long for this. By the way, I'm sending someone to steal your eyes. That's not a joke. I have a friend that will steal your eyes. You have 72 hours. Don't cross me again.
What the freak am I reading, dude? Oh my god. After awakening from the nightmarish encounter, Ford of course practically has a panic attack. I mean, reasonably so, and thinks about who he should probably turn to next. especially since Bill just got done threatening to steal his eyes.
Who is it? Have you come to steal my eyes?
Ford regrets his unfortunate decision in disregarding Fiddleford's warnings, and you can even notice a torn photo from when they were roommates, to which a code can be found at the top right corner that reads, once decoded, miss you, using the bros code symbol secrets. So as we all know, Ford ventures on his way to get Stanley for help, not without of course questioning that decision as well, since the last time he saw Stanley was of when they had their fallout. And Stanley wasn't exactly on good terms with the law since he had still been doing the latest get-rich-quick schemes, but by using the bros code symbols once again, this portion translates to, have I been too harsh all along? And after some time of thinking so much more and realizing that he's honestly all out of options, he brings upon himself to call onto Stanley for assistance. I grow maddened. Yeah, and then the next page is literally just a Bill Cipher sulking over the loss of Ford by what I like to call gaslighting. Bill mocking this man saying, "Oh, my poor brain, oh, boo-hoo, my poor knuckles," or by calling the whole situation a minor setback, like bruh. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's the video for this time. That was the final pages of the lost pages of Journal 3 that Bill Cipher showed to us, the audience, in his Book of Bill. This was honestly a shorter video than expected. I guess I realized honestly that there wasn't really much to cover with this one, but it was quite interesting. It shows a lot of backstory and what Ford had to go through with Bill. But that's the video, everybody. I will catch you all in the next one. There are still some Book of Bill videos to be covering, and yeah. This has been, once again, The Next Big Thing, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace!